If Gutenberg is your preferred page builder for WordPress websites, then you're going to love today's video, because coming up, I'm going to introduce to you what might just be the very best add-ons for Gutenberg. Hello there, welcome back to Web Monkey Show. My name is Alex. Hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are. So today's video is going to be something a little bit different, because usually when I cover add-ons, it's typically for Elementor, but today I have decided to cover a very specific add-on for Gutenberg, because Gutenberg is becoming more and more popular, and that add-on is the Plus blocks. They actually contacted me a few months ago asking me to talk about their plugin. I was a bit busy then, but thankfully I found the time to actually go through their plugin, and I have to say I have been very impressed. Now they have two versions. They have the free version and then the paid version. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, well, the free version won't be that good. I'll have to buy the paid version before I can actually enjoy the plugin. But that is not true at all, because with the free version of this plugin, in addition to having access to some very interesting features like setting global typography, global colors, which I'll cover, you also get 35 free blocks and then an additional 15 freemium blocks. So basically you get 50 blocks for free, just like that. And all these blocks are superior to the ones provided by Gutenberg in every possible manner. Now, if you go with the paid version, you're going to get access to 30 more blocks. In terms of pricing, right now, they actually have a promotion going on where you can get the starter package for $19 per year, or the professional package for $49 per year. Usually it's $39 and $99 respectively. But regardless of whether or not you're actually able to take advantage of this promotion, if you are ever going to invest in a plugin or an add-on for Gutenberg, I would highly recommend this plugin, because like I've said, I've gone through the plugin and I am very impressed. So coming up, I'm actually going to cover 4 of the free blocks and then 10 of the pro blocks. The first free block we'll cover will be the Plus listing block that allows you to list your blog posts in very interesting manner. We have the video player block that allows you to play videos from YouTube, Vimeo, very powerful. And then the draw SVG that allows you to draw different kinds of SVG formats on your site. And then the contact form block, which allows you to customize your forms built by Caldera, WP Forms, Gravity Forms, and so much more. And now for the paid blocks, the ones you get with the pro version of the plugin, we have the advanced charts with which you can create different kinds of charts, whether it's a pie chart, a bar chart, line chart, and so on. We have the preloader that allows you to create very interesting preloader animations on your site while your page is loading. We have the Hotspot block that allows you to create different kinds of hotspots on different kinds of images. We have the animated services block. This is actually one of my favorite blocks, because it is fantastic. You have so many different ways of displaying your service blocks. Very useful for business websites. We have the mouse cursor, the advanced mouse cursor block, which you can create interesting effects with your mouse. We have the coupon block, which you can use to display coupons on your site. Very interesting. And then we have the timeline block for creating timelines on your site. We have the before after block, where you can create this kind of effects where you have like an image before and then an image after. And then you have the Lottifile animations block, allows you to add animations from Lottifiles. And then finally we have the one page scroll navigation. So in case you have like a very long page, you can use this block to allow your users to scroll through that page in a very smooth manner. I have to say once again that I have been very impressed. I know they have almost 75 or 80 different blocks. The only reason why I'm covering 14 blocks is because of time. I don't want this video to be way too long. However, if you go through the website and there's a particular block you want me to cover extensively, I'll be sure to cover that plugin. So what I'll do with these 14 blocks is I'm not going to cover all of them fully, because some of them are just way too powerful, but I'm going to give you enough instructions and you'll know enough on how to use these blocks by the end of this video. So one more thing I should add is that if you're interested in buying the paid version of this plugin, please do use my affiliate link in the box below. What that means is that if you buy the paid version of the plugin with my link, I will get a small commission. It's a great way to support me and support what I'm doing here on this channel. I will also have the timestamps in the box below for each one of these blocks, so you can just use the timeline to get to the particular block that you are interested in. So without wasting any more time, let's jump right in. Alrighty, let's get the show started. And the first thing I want to do is to show you the settings for the plugin. I've already installed and activated the Plus Addons, the free version. And when you do the same, you'll see the link right here that says Plus Settings. Just click on Welcome. This will take you to the main page where you can read more about the latest updates and documentation and so on. Now, on the Plus blocks right here, this is where you would have access to your blocks. By default, you have three different types. You have the free blocks, the freemium blocks. Honestly, I'm not quite sure the difference between free and freemium. Both are free anyways. And then you have the pro blocks. Now you can simply choose to go ahead and enable all. And you see right now we have the blocks available to us. There are still some grayed out, like for example, before, after, carousel, anything, because these belong to the pro version of the plugin. Now, there's a very interesting feature in here, which is the scan unused blocks. Let me show you something, all right? I'm going to go over here to the front end. All right, I've actually built some content already with the plugin. Now, if I go to edit page, let me show you what it looks like from the back end, all right? Let me close this. Let me try add in a new block. Go to browse all. Now, do you see this? We have the Gutenberg blocks first, right? There's quite a number of them. Many. We come down here. So many blocks to work with. Now, these are the ones for the Plus add-ons. You can see there are so many of them. The thing is this, right? Obviously, I'm not using every single block. So, what if I just wanted to have access to the blocks that I am using, just those blocks, and all the other blocks I'm not using, disable them? That's where this feature comes in. Simply click on scan unused blocks once you finish building your page or your site, and then the plugin will tell you how many blocks you're actually not using. You can see right here it says 65. Now I can choose to disable all the unused blocks. I can save, okay? But let me show you something else. Also, I can come down here to performance tab, and I can also scan the blocks provided by Gutenberg itself right here. I'm going to click on Visit Block Manager, okay, and then the plugin right now will scan the Gutenberg blocks I am not using. Let's scan them. You can see right there 71. Insane. I'm going to go ahead now, disable all the unused blocks, save, and now let's go back in here. Let's refresh this page. And now you're going to see something very, very interesting. So if I wanted to add a new block, let me come down here, browse all. Now, do you see the number of blocks have reduced dramatically? Now on the text, we only have 3, 2 widgets, theme. These are basically, now the embeds, you cannot disable them whether you're using them or not. You can't disable those. But you can see that under the text widgets theme, the blocks have reduced drastically. These are the ones I'm using. And then for the Plus add-ons, these are the 6 blocks I am using. So this is a fantastic feature. I would highly recommend you use the scan unused blocks for the Plus add-ons, and then you go to performance and do the same for Gutenberg as well. This will improve your performance and efficiency and the speed of your site a lot. All right, extra options in here. You can integrate your Google Maps API key. You can enable or disable font awesome loading, and of course Google Fonts as well. Going back to the performance tab, if you're having issues with like the caching, maybe you're applying some changes to your page, you save, you don't see those changes, you can come in here and purge your cache. You could also regenerate all your assets as well. And of course under custom, you can add your custom CSS, your custom JS, and then finally under activate, you would have the option to add the license key for the pro version of the plugin. Before I begin showing you how the blocks work, or a few of them at least, let me walk you through a few more settings provided by this plugin, because these are actually very powerful and useful settings. Now I'm on the home page, the back end, and right up here on the right, you see I have the Plus Customizer button. And if I click in there, this is where I could set my global presets. By default, you have access to 2, preset 1, preset 2. You could add your own custom preset as well if you wanted to. Now, if I click on preset 1, now I have access to my global colors, typography, spacing, and so on. Let me show you how this works. If I click on global colors right now, I could add my own custom color, or I could rename or edit those already existing. So for example, on the primary, I can click in there, rename, and let's call this one main color. Okay, press enter. Now, I could customize the actual color itself. So instead of purple, let's go with something like black down there. Okay, so I've chosen black. Now, I can go ahead now and simply save that. But let me show you something else. On the global typography, let me just close global colors first. Now, on the global typography, we also have access to several default categories of text. You have kind of like your main header, then the headline, the subheading, title 1, title 2. Let's go to body right here. Okay, I'm going to click on the gear button right there to edit the body text. And then right here, you can see the defaults. The font family is set to Roboto. I'm going to change this to, let's say, Ubuntu. Okay, Ubuntu font. Font weight, let's go with something very thick like 700. Okay, and then font size, I can go with something maybe like 30 pixels, just as an example. Okay, now take a look at how this would work. I'm going to go ahead now, save my preset. Okay, now, if I wanted to apply my global presets to any of my content in here, as an example, let's say we have the text in here under about SEO experts. Okay, I'm going to click on the block right here. Okay, now where you have style, I'm going to go in there to style the text, and then right here, do you see typography? You have access to the global icon right there. I'm going to click in there, and now global typography, I'm going to come all the way down here and choose body. And just like that, now you can see we have access to the font weight of 700, the font size of, I don't remember, I think it was 25 pixels that we said, but then this is your button text right there. I could do the same thing in here as well, these other text in here. I could go to style once again, go to the gear button, the global icon button right there, and then choose body, and there it is. So instead of me having to come to each individual text block, change the font weight, the font family, the font size, I could just set one preset and apply that preset as many times as I want to on as many text blocks. The best thing here is this, okay? If I was to go back to my customizer in here, and I was to go back to the global typography, go back to the body text in here, and then re-edit it, change the font size to something smaller, maybe something like 20 pixels, and then maybe change the font family to ABZ. Can you now see that right here it has changed already? Down here it has also already changed to reflect the new change in the global preset. Pretty amazing, right? That's exactly how to work with your global typography. Same goes with the global colors as well. If I was to go back to my text in here, okay, let me close this. Go back to the text in the first column in here, go to style, and then text color right here, I have the global icon in there. I click in there, and now you can see these are the plus global colors created by default. So I could choose the black that I set initially, or I could go with like red as an example. And there it is. Red has been applied. Now if I go back in here, click inside, go to style, go to text color, choose that same red, okay? Now if I was to go back to my global colors, come down here to the tertiary color that is red, and I click inside and I change this to something, let's say something greenish. Now you see all the text that has that global preset applied to it begin to change to reflect the change that we've just added. So this is how you can create your global presets for your color, your typography, spacing, box shadow, and so much more. I would highly recommend that you make use of this. This would help you build sites a lot faster. Now, before I round up this video, let me show you one more thing with the Plus Addons blocks. Typically, whenever you add any block with the Plus Addons, you're going to have access to three main sections. Okay, you will have the layout, style, advanced. You can see right now I'm working with the TP image block. This is for obviously adding images to your pages. So you will have layout where you can customize the content, add your image, the alignment, things like that. And then style obviously would be where you would change things like the color, the size of the text, the width of the image, things like that. And then under advanced, you will have access to things like your animation, positioning, responsive features, and so on. However, even if you're not working, or like even if you're working with the default Gutenberg blocks. Let me show you an example. Let me choose paragraph. Okay, now this one is the one provided by Gutenberg itself. If I was to choose paragraph, okay, now the thing is, if I was to go to the settings right here on the right, I will have access to this feature called Plus Extra Display Rules. I click in there and I can choose to turn the rules on. I can then choose when this particular block should be displayed. So for example, display when all rules are true, or if any one rule is true. So if I was to say, okay, any one rule is true, right here I can begin to add my rules. I can click inside item 0, and then I can say, okay, if the user's login status, so if the user is logged in, you can display this block, or if the user is not logged in, then you can display this block, things like that. So you have access to so many kinds of rules. You can even show or hide content based on the user role, but that's going to be available only for the pro versions of the plugin, unfortunately. But you can do things like the operating system. So if they're using Windows or Mac or Linux, you can show content or hide content. And then same goes with like date and time, single archive, taxonomy, and so on. But for the free version of the plugin, the mere fact that you can hide or show content based on the login status of the individual on your website, that is very, very powerful, and that is so useful. I'm pretty sure there are websites you work on where you want to show content to users who are logged in, and then you want to hide content to users that are not logged in. So you will have these Plus Extra Display Rules feature available to every single block you're working with, regardless of whether or not it's provided by Gutenberg or by the Plus Addons plugin. So that's pretty much a very quick tour of a few more settings that you have available for you by using the Plus Addons plugin. Let's now begin to talk about the actual blocks themselves. Alright, before I delve into showing you how some of the Plus blocks work, I wanted to give you a very quick demonstration and compare some of the very common blocks provided by Gutenberg with those provided by Plus. Now right here you're seeing the exact same image. The one on the left right here is the one I created using the default image block with Gutenberg. The one on the right is the one provided by the Plus add-on. Now I wanted to show you just how much superior the blocks provided by the Plus add-ons is to the ones provided by Gutenberg. Now with Gutenberg, your traditional image block, there isn't that much you can do. You could add links up in here. You could also do some duotone filters and things like that. Cool. You could change the size, width, height, things like that. And then you could also choose a style. Maybe you want to go with rounded or the default style. That's pretty much it. But the image block for that provided by Plus, which is called the TP image block, you have access to a lot more. First of all, you can choose your alignment, you can add a link, you can choose the max width as well for the image. This is great for responsive design. You can add your caption in here if you wanted to. And of course, you have access to the additional CSS classes. But then right here, this is where you have access to the styling. So you can add a background color, you can add your border, you can add box shadows if you wanted to, and then other advanced, you can do other things like add animations, border, background, spacing, and so much more. So you can see the image block provided by the Plus add-on is superior in many ways to the one provided by Gutenberg. The same goes for the heading. Right here, you can see this is the heading provided by Gutenberg, and then this is the heading block provided by the Plus add-ons. Again, you will notice that with Gutenberg, there isn't really that much you can do. Okay, I mean, you can, change the color of the text. You can add some background color as well. You can change the typography, the appearance, and that's pretty much it. But the one provided by the Plus add-ons, you can have access to a lot more. You have some styling options in here. It even comes with like a main title, subtitle, and even extra title. And then for the extra title, you can choose the position. Maybe you want it to be after the title or before the title. So you have access to a lot more options. And then the layout, of course, you can go with the alignments to the left, right, center. You can also add limits for the title and subtitle, limits being a number of characters. And you can choose the title positions in here as well. And then again, on the styling, you have access to just so much more options. You can choose the title tag. Typography, you click on the icon right there, and you have access to your text decoration, text transform, font style, letter spacing, line height, font size, font family, font weight. You have access to pretty much everything you would need to customize the way your text would look like. And of course, under advanced, you have access to your spacing, border, background, on-scroll animation, and so much more. So there are so many other blocks in here. Let me just quickly show you. There's so many blocks in here provided by Gutenberg, which you will find with Plus. It's just that with Plus, those blocks become more powerful because you have access to a lot more options. So your classic blocks like your paragraph block, your table block, your code block, your gallery block. When you come down here to the ones for Plus add-ons, you find them in here. Like you find the block code in here as well. You have your data table in there. You have your paragraph block in here as well. They are going to be so much more powerful than those provided by Gutenberg because you're going to have access to a lot more features and a lot more functionality. Alright, the first official block I want to show you how to work with the free version of the Plus add-ons is going to be the Draw SVG. This is an example of what it will look like. Let me just refresh this page for you. So you would have something like this kind of animation that would appear either quickly or slowly depending on what you want. Let me give you an example in here. If I scroll over here, all right, so you can see this contact mail right here. Now this isn't SVG, this is from Lottie. This is a Lottiefiles animation. I'll show you how you can actually add Lottiefiles using the pro version of the Plus blocks, but we could create something similar with the free version by making use of a block called the TP Draw. What I'm going to do right here is I'm going to add the block, and it's called, let me just go to browse all, scroll down in here, it's going to be called the TP Draw SVG. You can see it right here. I'm going to click right there. Now, what's awesome here is that if you have your own custom SVG, you can actually upload it. So right here where you have the SVG options, you have the drop down, and then you simply go to custom upload, and then you can upload your own custom SVG. If you don't have yours, you can build yours directly with this block. You go back to the pre-build, and then right here, you have so many, you actually have 76 different kinds of images that you can create. So for a contact form, I could use something like this. I think it's number 38. All right, so right here, you can see we have mail. So I can choose mail, and then right there, you can see we have that animation. We can then come down here to layout. We can change the alignment, but it's under style where we can really enhance it. So in here, we can choose the max width, for example, maybe make it like 250 pixels. I'll just make the 250. And then of course we can change the color. I click in here. I'm just going to go with black. All right, the black color. And then for the Draw SVG animation, we can choose to maybe make it delayed. We can sync it, so everything is synced at once, or we can go in one by one. And then you can also choose the duration. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose sync, and then the duration, make it a little bit long. So let's go with 160. And then you have like your draw method. Is it going to be on scroll or on hover? Let's just do on scroll. Okay. And then we can go ahead now and update. Let me show you how this would look like. Let's view the page. Let me scroll down in here. And now you can see how the animation comes in. Let's go back. Let's make a few more changes. I'm actually going to delay the animation even further. So let's go back to style. Go to Draw SVG duration. We're going to make that 250. All right. Now, if you want to get really fancy, we can even add some animation. So what we'll do is we'll go to advanced right here. And then when you have the on scroll animation, let's go with something like, let's say, rotating, for example. Okay, let's update. And now if you view the page and then we scroll down, there you go. You can see the animation. So it's not quite like Lottie. Lottie tends to be a bit more powerful. You know, you can see like this one right here, you have a lot of animation going on. So Lottiefiles generally are more powerful than SVG, but again, for a free version, this is pretty cool, I think. You know, you can make different kinds of SVGs, you can delay the animation, as well. You can change the color, change the width, the height, and of course you have many kinds of images that you can choose from. It's not just the mill. Let me go back in here, show you one more time. So you've got things like your app, art, a banknote, you've got a camera, a clock. The list goes on and on and on. So whatever it is you're trying to create, I'm sure you would find something with this particular block. The next block I want us to talk about is going to be the video player block, and the reason why is because it is 1,000,000 times better than the one provided by Gutenberg. Now, as usual, I do have the comparison in here. I have my first row. This is the one provided by Gutenberg, and as you can see, not many options. You can either upload from your computer, media library, or insert directly from a URL. The one here, the one with the Apple video, this is the one provided by the Plus Addons. You can see it is the TP video, and right off the bat you can see that we have a source, so we can choose either from YouTube or Vimeo, or we can simply go with self-hosted, when we will then upload the video directly from our computer. But if you're going to go with YouTube, for example, you'll just simply add the YouTube ID in here. If it's Vimeo, you simply add the Vimeo ID in there as well. And the wonderful thing is that you have access to the player settings. So you can choose to go with like an autoplay, you can mute the video, you can loop the video. And then if it's for YouTube, for example, you have things like suggested videos you can turn on or off. You can enable privacy mode as well. And then if you don't want to go with the settings provided by the plugin, naturally, one thing you could do is you could come in here with your banner icon and then enable the custom layout. And now here you can choose to upload your own image that you use as the banner for the video. And then you can customize the video title in here. You can add the video description, the icon size, maybe it's going to be thumbnail, medium, and so on and so forth. So you have access to just about every single kind of option that you'd want. I'm going to turn off the custom layout. Let's turn that off. I'm going to show you something very cool, right? So if you go to style right here, in addition to being able to add your regular borders, your border color, radius, and so on, you can work with transform CSS properties. Now, if you're familiar with CSS, you already know what I'm talking about. If you're not, let me kind of just paste something in here. And there you go. You see what has happened to the video. In fact, I'm going to go ahead now and update this. And let's see how it will look like on the front end. Let's scroll down here. And there it is. That is the video right there playing in this very interesting manner. Now, of course, this isn't maybe the best demonstration, but you can begin to see how you can make your videos play in a very animated and a very creative kind of manner. Now, you can go on Google and type in CSS transforms. You'll probably get a link to W3 Schools, and in here you can see examples like you can rotate 20 degrees, you can skew either on the y-axis or on the x-axis, you can add the degree, you can even scale as well. This you can make the video even bigger. What I have here, let me just show you on the back end. Let me show you what I did. If I go back to the video, let me just click right there. All right. What I did on the style is this. I said rotate 7 degrees and then skew 10 degrees. All right. So we could do it the opposite way if you wanted to. For example, I could say skew negative. Let me try that. Negative 10 degrees. So now you can see it's slanting further back. We could rotate. Maybe let's go with 114 degrees as an example. Like, just you have so many different ways of displaying this. Maybe that's not the best way. Let me just go back, rotate 3 degrees instead. All right, and then we can go skew on the y-axis or skew on the x-axis. Like, there are so many different ways of being able to display your videos. And of course, under advanced, you have access to the same old options like your spacing, background, borders, animation, and so on and so forth. So this is just so much better. It's a so much more powerful way of displaying your videos than the one provided by Gutenberg. The next block on our list here is going to be the special blog listing block for Gutenberg, and it's basically a block that would allow you to display your posts in a wide variety of formats. Now keep in mind that by default, this particular block isn't going to be active. You'll have to activate it manually in your back end, and it's called the post listing block. That's it right there. So the thing is, having a block that displays your posts isn't something new to Gutenberg. Gutenberg already has that inbuilt. You would find it under theme section and then posts list. But here's the thing, right? You don't have way too many options. You can either choose from a predefined format, which is what you basically kind of have here, or if you prefer, you can start blank and then choose from 4 different options. So let's say, for example, we went with option number 3. That will display the title of the post, the date of the post, and then the excerpt. This is what you get. And then on the right hand side, you do have a few options, like you can filter by the post or page. You can order by newest to oldest. You can also filter by categories, tags, and you do have access to a few other options, like, you know, choosing the text color, the background color, and so on. Now let's compare this with the one provided by the Plus Addons. Now I'm going to go to Browse All, scroll all the way down here, and now I am going to choose the TP post listing block right there. Let's add that, and immediately you can see the vast difference. All right, over here on the right we have the layout. You can choose from different types of listing types. Normal page, you can go with an archive page, search list, and so on. I'm going to go with the normal page, and then of course you can choose the post type, maybe posts, pages, and so on. And then you've got the style. All right, this is style 1, this is style 2, you've got style 3, you've got style 4, and of course you also have style 5, where you have to choose from a block template that you've already pre-built earlier. I'm going to go with style 2. Down here you now have the actual layout. Do you want to go with a grid format, a masonry format, or maybe even a carousel format? Personally, I've always preferred grid. And then you've got like style 1, style 2. This depends on your style that you chose in here and also the layout. So you're not going to get a different style for some particular kinds of options like the grid. Grid only has one particular style. Now for the query itself, in here, this is where you can select from a specific category. You can select posts with specific kinds of tags, and then you can include by ID or exclude by ID. You can choose the number of posts to display. You have your offset options in here, and then you've got your columns manager. How many columns do you want to go with? You can go with maybe, let's say, 3 columns. So now we've got them by 3 columns. You can go with 6 columns, which personally I don't like. I usually go with either 2 or 3. And then of course you can increase the gap space between the columns or reduce them. You have more filter options in here by the category. And then if you're wondering, okay, what about the excerpt? I want to display the excerpt of my posts. You'll find them under the extra options. So in here you can do things like, okay, well, you can show the title or hide the title, and now you can show the excerpt. And then you can also set an excerpt limit. You can go with by letters and then choose the number of letters you want to set the limit for. I'm going to go with by word, so we have a bit more text. And then you have other options like the post meta style. You've got style 2, style 3, show the author, show the date, show the image size as well. Do you want to go with like a full-sized image or maybe a thumbnail image? This will depend, of course, on the column layout that you're working with. And then the more post loading options, you want to go with pagination, maybe load more, lazy mode, and so on. And then right up here, let's go all the way back up. On the style, you can style pretty much everything. The typography of your title, of your excerpt, of your date. You can change the colors in here. In here, for example, the excerpt typography, you click in here, you choose the font family, the font weight, and so on and so forth. The featured image in here as well. You can choose the hover effect. So when we hover on the images, what happens? You've got style 1. And then actually you only have one style, which is the kind of like the zooming effect. If you don't like that, you can simply choose none and you won't have that effect at all. And of course you can add your background color, your border radius, and so on and so forth. So without question, the TP listing block is in so many ways far superior to the one provided by Gutenberg. So hopefully you can find some value in this particular block. The last free block I want us to take a look at is going to be the external form styler block. On the actual documentation page on their website, it says contact form 7. But this block is so much more than just contact form 7. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. Now, just like with the post listing block, you will have to activate it manually in the back end. And this is right here, the external form styler. All right. Now, I'm on my contact page in here, and I have already created a very simple contact form using WP forms. Let me just quickly, let me just show you that real quick. So it's right here, WP forms, and this is the form right here, the contact form. It's just your standard, very, very simple form that has like the name field, email, and then the comment message field, okay? All right, go back in here. Now let me show you how this particular block works. I'm gonna scroll all the way down here, and this is the block right here, TP external form styler. I'm gonna add that. Now, the reason why I said it's so much more than contact form 7 is because right here on the right, you can actually choose from different plugins that create forms. So yes, you do have contact form 7, but if your favorite form plugin is Caldera, you can choose a Caldera form. You've got Everest, Gravity, Ninja, and of course WP form plugin, which are used to create my form. So I'm going to choose that right there. And then I can choose the contact form I just created. The reason why this particular block is very, very useful is because it allows you to actually style the form fields and the form blocks themselves. So from here, I can go with style. And right now, I have access to style the labels, the sub-labels. I can change the label color, for example, maybe make them red as an example. I can change the colors for the required symbol color. Description text, I can modify that one as well. I can modify the input fields, add paddings, access the typography settings in here as well. Same goes with like your file upload field. If you have that on your form, you can customize the submit send button, the form container even. You can add paddings in there if you want to. You can change the background color if you wanted to. Like, you've got access to just so many different options, and that's why I feel this particular block is one that you would find useful, because forms are very, very, very important. They're very, very, very common in most websites. So if you're building a form with Gutenberg and you're trying to style that particular form, then definitely check out the external form styler block. Alrighty, so the first pro block we're going to cover is going to be the advanced charts. And if you ever need to showcase data or statistics on your website, you are going to absolutely love this block, because you can pretty much do everything. All right, now I'm on my services page in here. Let me show you how it works. I'm going to go ahead now and add the block. It's called the TP Advanced Chart. So I'm going to click in here, and by default, you'll get the classic line chart right here. But then you also have access to the bar chart, which you can switch from horizontal to vertical if you want to. You have the radar chart, which isn't quite as popular, but still nice to know that you have access to it. You have your donut chart, or is this the pie chart? I'm not actually sure. And then you have your donut or pie chart. Honestly, I can't tell the difference between both of them. And then finally, you have what I believe is called the bubble chart. But then most importantly, right down here, you can add your label values, and then you have your data sets. So for example, January right now, I could change this to maybe 2007, 2008, or I could use a different kind of label. And then I now have the actual data themselves. And of course, I could also add the background colors for the data sets. Likewise, if I was to go with, let's say, for example, the pie chart or the donut chart in here, I could change the label values in here. I have my orientation, which I could change. And then for the data sets in here, now this is a little bit different. For each data, you can add a specific background color. So 10, for example, the very first background color you add in here will be for your first data and so on. And of course, you'll have to use the hexadecimal values for your colors. And you can also add different kinds of border colors as well. So I don't want to spend too much time in here, because honestly, I could spend an hour just showing you the different kinds of possibilities. But I guarantee you that if you're trying to display data or statistics in any way, this block pretty much has you covered. Under style, you can style everything: the bar size, the bar space, your grid lines. You can color them, you can draw borders. Same goes with the label as well. You can change the color of your labels. You can make them as large as you want. Same thing for the legends, tooltip, and then under extra options, you have access to different kinds of animation based on the particular kind of chart you're working with, and you can choose the duration of that particular animation. And like I said, you have access to just about every kind of possible kind of chart, data sets, the layouts, the styling, and I hope you will find this particular block very, very useful. The next Pro block is probably one of my favorites in the entire plugin, and that is the animated service boxes. This is an extremely powerful block with which you can use to display services or any kind of data in so many different ways. And in fact, I've gone ahead to create 3 different sections. You can see the first one in here, where I have 5 main headlines: marketing, I have SEO, sales, and of course notice that on the right, as I change the title, the image on the right changes to reflect the title that's been hovered on. I have security, and then I have web design. I created also a different section in here, which is a bit more robust. This is the hover style. We have SEO, we have sales, and then again, once I switch to a different title, the background image changes as well. That's security, that's web design right there, and of course you have a description and also a read more text. And then the last one here is more of a carousel kind of style. So we have Brazil, for example. I hover in here, we have Russia. I hover on this one, we have Thailand, and then I over in here and then we have Argentina. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to show you very quickly how I was able to create these 3 different kinds of sections by making use of the animated service box block. All right, so let's go ahead and create the very first section. I'm going to come down in here, and the block we're looking for is going to be the animated services, and it's the one right here, TP animated services boxes. I'm going to click inside. All right, now right here, these are the main styles that you have. You have the image accordion, sliding boxes. The very first one we're going to work with will be the one down here actually, which is the portfolio style. Okay, now you do have style 1 and style 2 where you would have the actual titles inside of the images, but I prefer style 1. So very quickly, what I'm going to do right now is right here where you have the service boxes, you can see we have marketing, sales, fulfillment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click inside each one of them, add the necessary title, and then add the necessary featured image representing that title. Alrighty, so as you can see right now, I have added marketing, SEO, sales, security, web design, and of course I've added the featured image for each one of these headlines. And as you can see, when I hover on the headline, the image on the right will change to reflect the headline I'm currently hovering on. Now to make this look a bit better, you want to come down here to layout, and then the text alignment you can go with center, and then the offset go with center as well to align the text in the middle of the section. You can change the height as well if you want to, but I'll just keep the default. Next would be to go to the style section right in here, and then we can change the typography right here, font family. I'm going to go with Montserrat. I really do like this font family. And then you can change the line height as well to kind of space them out a little bit more. And then of course you can change the font weight. So maybe let's go with like something like, let's say 600, for example. And then the color as well, or we can go with like a solid black. All right, and that's pretty much it. And I'm going to go ahead now and update this. Let's view the page. And let me just show you. And there it is. Now, obviously, you can add, let's actually do this right now. I'm going to add some margin to the entire column so we have some space. All right, let's do this. So I'm going to click inside in here, go to the column, and then go to advanced and then spacing. And then right here, let's unlink the values. I'll just give spacing from the top 50 pixels and then 50 pixels from the bottom as well. Let's update that. Let's view the page one more time. And there it is. So this is a pretty cool way of displaying your services. Let me even give you kind of like a tip. You can actually create like a front page for a website, like the main menu, like up here, for example, where you have start here, services, about, blog, and contact, you can have just one full page that will just have the main menu items and then the images representing those main menu items. And that's typically, and that's all you need to have on that front page. That will be like a very, very unique and interesting design. Now, for the second section with a different design, we're going to go with the same block again. However, please do this. Instead of just adding the animated service boxes, add the TP row block first. This would allow us to actually showcase the images so that they will occupy the full width of our screen. It will go full width. So make use of the TP row first, and then right here where you have the column layout, choose just one column because we're going to be adding just the animated service box inside. And then in here, we can then add the TP animated service boxes. All right. So the one we're going to be working with is going to be the hover section. That's it right there. And again, right down here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to add the services. So I'm going to add SEO, sales, security, web design. And then note that unlike the first section that we built in here, for this one, you can add a title, a subtitle, and also a short description as well, in addition to the featured image. So I'm going to go ahead now and add a few of these services. Alrighty, so as you can see, I've added sales, security, and web design. And for each one of them, I've added some lorem ipsum dummy text and also the featured image. So this is exactly how it looks like now. A far cry from the finished product. But let's make some changes, okay? The first thing we're going to do right here is to actually edit the row holding the animated service box. So you can see right now I've selected TP row. What you want to do is you want to go to the content width, select full, and then also it says stretch row, turn that on. So now you can see we have the image going full width. This is why I wanted us to use the TP row first and then add the animated service box inside of that TP row. So I'm going to go back, click inside. So now we're working with the animated service box again. Now what you want to do right here is this, okay? For the button style, we're going to go ahead now to display the button. And even though you can't see it right here, you can see read more. I like style 2 better because style 2 actually has like a border which we can style. You can also choose to turn on the icon image, so you can have all these like icons up here. You can see the WhatsApp icon right there. You may not see it properly, but it's there, trust me. But I'm going to turn it off because I don't want to work with that. Now, basically, for the layout, there isn't that much to change in here. You can change the text alignment if you prefer, but personally, I'm not going to change that at all. What I want to do right now is want to go straight to style, okay? And then on the style, we're going to make some major changes. Like, for example, the title right here, I'm just going to change the color and go with white, okay? And then we can go to typography, and then again, I'm just going to choose my very favorite Montserrat. All right, and then the font size, we can make this quite big, maybe something like 37 pixels as an example. Of course, you can edit the line height, letter space, and all that stuff. Okay, that's for the title. And then description, we're going to do the exact same thing as well. I'll go with the white text, okay? And then the exact same thing over again. I'm going to go with the typography settings in here. Font family, I'm going to go with Montserrat one more time. And there it is. And then right here where you have button, I'm going to click inside. And now for the button text itself, again, I'm going to choose the white color for the text. And then we can then change the border color and then the background color as well. So to do that, you want to come in here for the box border, choose the very first option in here. And then for the border color, I'm going to go with the blue right there. And then all we need to do right now is to also add the background color. So I'm going to go in here and then choose blue as well. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead now. Before we update, actually, let's not forget, we need to add some margin as well. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the TP row, holding the entire animated service box. And then right, I'm going to go to advanced and then simply margin. We're going to add 50 pixels from the top once again, and then 50 pixels from the bottom. Let's go ahead now, update. Let's view the page. And let's see what it looks like. I'm going to come down here and there you go. So it's going to take a while for the images to load because they're quite large. But there it is right there. So we have SEO, we have sales, we have security, and of course we have web design. And this is just pretty fantastic. You can create really awesome sections for your services or any other kind of content you want to display. All right, now for the very last section, we're going to do the exact same thing that we did in the second section. So I'm going to add the TP row first, choose a 1-column layout. And then while we're here, let's just do this. Okay, I'm going to stretch the row, give it a full width. We'll go to advanced as well, and then we'll also add margin 50 from the top and then 50 from the bottom as well. And then inside of our section, we're going to add the animated services block one more time. And there it is. All right, so the one we're going to be working with here, the particular style in here, is actually going to be the very first one. It is the image accordion. So right down here, you have, of course, the style. Do you want to go vertical or, you know, choose which slide is active? What I'm going to do is right here where you have the service boxes, all right? I am going to add 4 boxes, one for Brazil, I will add for Argentina, Russia, and then Thailand. And there isn't really that much. All I'm doing basically is just to add the title and then the featured image. I'm not going to add any description at all. I'll just keep this as the default text. All right, so as you can see right now, I have added the boxes for Brazil, Russia, Thailand, and Argentina. And there it is right there. So to make this look a bit better, you want to come down here to layout. We can align the text to the center. And then the offset will also align that to the center as well. And then all we really need to do from here would be to turn on the display button as well, which is what you have right here. And I'm going to go with style 2 so that it has the border right there. And then we'll just go over now to style. We're going to style the title. Of course, I'm going to go with white color. Let's go with the typography. And as you can imagine, one more time, I'm going to go with Montserrat as my font family. And then the font size, we can make it quite big, maybe 80 pixels, should be fine. And then we'll do the exact same thing for the description as well. I'm gonna change the color right here to white. And then we can also maybe change the size as well, make it a little bit bigger. All right, so maybe let's go with 29 pixels. All right, I'm not going to change the font family. I think we've had enough of Montserrat. And then finally, the button. All right, so button text, again, we're going to go with white. And then we're going to add some padding. All right, so what I'll simply do right here is we can add some even padding of 15 pixels around. We're going to go with the box border solid and then the border color of blue. And then we can also add some border radius to make the edges a bit circular. And then, of course, the background color, I'm going to go with blue as well. And there it is. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead now, update. Let's view the page. Let's scroll down. And there it is. So Brazil, and then you come in here, you have you have Russia, come in here, you have Thailand, and then you have Argentina. Now you may notice that on the left here, we do have some space, like it's not right at the edge of the screen like what we have here in section number 2. So to solve this, all right, what you want to do is you want to go back and you want to choose the column holding the animated service box, okay? Not the actual animated service box block itself, but the column, all right? So right here, you can see where I have clicked. I clicked just outside. You will see it right here. It says TP column. This is what you should find. This is what you should see. Go to advanced, and then for the padding, just simply give that a padding of 0. All right, that's what you need to do. So you update. If you're having trouble, by the way, locating the column, you can always use the navigator button up here. So this is what you're looking for. You're looking for the TP column holding the TP animated service box. So let's go ahead now, view the page. Scroll down here. And there it is. So this is how to make use of the animated service box block. Without question, one of my very favorite blocks from this plugin. And we're only just scratching the surface. In fact, let me drag the page right here. On the official page, they have so many examples. You have the service element style 1, service element style 2. This is the one that we just did earlier, the very first section that we built. This is a different style that we built, that we did not build, but it's also for the portfolio style. And then you have different ones in here as well, like the fancy box. I mean, this is just the possibilities are almost endless. Okay, there is even this sliding boxes, which I didn't have the time to show you how to do so, how to work with them, but you do have this option in here. They're freaking fantastic. And then you have the image accordion style 1, vertical style. You have this one, which is the one we just did. And then you have this other style in here as well. And it just goes on and on and on. Simply brilliant. So without question, I'm pretty sure this is a block that you'll find absolutely useful when it comes to displaying services or any other kind of content on your website. Be sure to give it a try. The next block is going to be the before after block, and as you might already imagine, it's a block that you can use for displaying kind of like a before and after image. So right down here you have examples. You have like this one right here where you have the bird before, and then you have like this after cool effect. And then you have the one here where you have the girl, you know, lying down on the bed, and then she's now doing some yoga on her bed. So let me show you how to make use of the block. It's called, let me show you. Let me scroll down here. So it's called the TP before after. All right, so I'm going to make use of it. And right down here, you'll have to add the before and after images. So on the left, on the right here, let me just add the before image. I do have one here that I took in Argentina right there. And then I'll choose the after with me pointing at the image. And there it is. So right now you can see this would be the before, and now this is the after image. So right here you can add like the before label. So I will say, for example, without me. And then let me just say with me, just to add a label in there. And of course you can choose the image size, and then layout is actually very, very interesting. The default is horizontal, but you could go with vertical. So you have this vertical kind of effect, but then opacity is actually very interesting. You won't see the full effect right now. Let me just go ahead and update and show you from the front end. That's where you'll see how it actually works. So let's hold on. All right, so now we have the image. So the opacity effects comes in when the user begins to hover on the image. So you can see right now, I'm hovering away. This is now after. But if I go back here, you can see this is the before, or rather the without me image. And then I'm scrolling away, scrolling outside, and then it gets to the after image. So I'm not sure if this is the best kind of layout. Personally, I'll just go with the default horizontal layout. So let me go back in here, switch back to horizontal. So we have this, and then of course you can change the alignment. You can come down here to your style. You can go with full width, but please ensure that you use the TP row. If you want your images to go full width, you need to add the TP before after block inside of your TP row block, and then make the row go full width, stretch the row, and then you can come in here and select full width. You can also do other things like configure the separator line. So right now it's in the middle, or you can go with bottom. So you can see right now the line comes from the bottom. Personally, I prefer middle. Right there, it's more obvious. And then of course you can style the separator width. You can add the color, for example. You can go like pink, for example, or something like that. You can change the icon, the labels as well. You can add your typography colors and so on and so forth. So this is a pretty cool block, which hopefully you would find useful as well. Next is going to be the coupon code block, and this is very, very interesting because there are times when maybe on your website you have like a promotion, you're selling a course or you're selling anything and you want to offer like a coupon, right? There isn't any sort of very easy way of displaying coupons, but with this block, which is the coupon code block, you have 5 different styles of displaying your coupons. You can see them right here, and these are very, 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 very creative. Let me show you how to make use of the block. So as you might imagine, it's called the TP coupon code block. It's right here. I'm going to choose that. So right now you have 5 different styles. This is style 1, you have style 2 right here, style 3, 4, and 5. Personally, I prefer the second style where you kind of have half of the coupon code showing and then you have the other half saying show code. So when the user now clicks on the actual box, it now reveals the entire code. And of course, you got the coupon type in here, standard, peel, scratch, slide out, and so on. Personally, I'm just going to go with the standard. And then right here, of course, this is where you would add the link that will now take the subscriber or the consumer to the page where they can then use the coupon code. And of course, in here, this would be the coupon code that you can add. The select action, you have either click or pop up. So when they click on the actual box, you have the coupon code now appearing in the form of a pop-up, and then you have the link here that says go to visit sites, which will be of course the redirect link that you added in there. Let me switch back to click, and then you can add your arrows in there as well if you want to. You can configure the layout, change the content alignment, the box alignment, and then under extra options, you can save in cookies as well. But then keep in mind that the user will be remembered the next time they visit your website. So if you want to use cookies, this is where you do so. If you don't want to, just keep this unchecked. And then of course, under style, as usual, you can configure the entire coupon code text, the box, the width. You can add your borders, the copy code in here, things like that. You have access to configure your coupon code looks as much as you want. Next block on our list is going to be the Lottiefiles animations block. And remember, I told you I was going to show you how to add Lottiefiles when we were working with the free SVG drop block earlier. So this is the block right here. And just in case you're new to Lottie, you don't really know what Lottiefiles are, these are the next generation animation kinds of content you can add on your site. They're very scalable, but most importantly, they're very, very lightweight, so they won't affect your loading speeds that much. So you can go to lottiefiles.com, create an account, it's free. I'm already logged in, so let me just show you how to make use of this block. So say for example, I wanted to add a Lottiefile for like contact, right? Contact us, for example. I'm gonna type in contact right there. And there is one in here that I really, really do like. It's free. Some of these you might have to pay for, but you have a lot of free Lottiefiles. So it's the one right here by Hakim Al-Mandri. I really like this one. So I'm going to click inside. All right. So this is all what we need. We need the Lottie animation URL. So I'm going to go ahead now and copy it. By the way, in certain cases, you can actually customize the Lottiefiles directly on the Lottie website. So in here, for example, you can add like a background color, you can change the animation speed and so on. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm just going to go ahead and grab the link right here. And let's go to our website. I'm going to come in here, go to browse all. So the block we're looking for is going to be the TP Lottie animations block right here. I am going to add that. And all you really need to do is to go to Lottie content right in here. And then where you have the JSON URL, just simply go ahead now and paste the URL you got from the Lottie website. And there it is. That is our form right there. Very straightforward, very easy to work with. A few things to mention. On the main settings, you can choose whether you want to make it autoplay or maybe when the user clicks on the Lottiefiles itself or on hover and so on. You can customize the loop animation, set the total number of loops. You can change the speed, the start time, the end time, and so on. And of course, you can choose to add a heading, which will appear down here if you wanted to. You could also add a description as well. You will add your necessary text. And then for the layout options, you can choose like a maximum width or a maximum height. And then of course, as usual, under your style, you can configure the opacity for your Lottie. Do you want to make it very, very opaque or maybe not so opaque? You can add the transition duration as well. And you can also configure the hover effects as well. Let us go ahead and remove this. So we're not going to change anything in there. Let's update. Let's view the page. And it's going to take a few seconds. And there it is. That is a Lottiefiles being displayed right there. So you can imagine just create like a contact us section, you know, like a 2-column layout. On the very first column on the left, you have like the text saying, hey, contact us. And then on the right, you can have these Lottifile being displayed right here. And in fact, I have an example. Let me just show you right here. So you can see right now, let me just refresh this page. All right, so you can build something like this where you have your contact us text on the left, and then on the right, you'll have your Lottifile animation. So this is just an example of how you can make use of Lottie animation files on your site by making use of the Lottifiles animation block. Next up is the Preloader Block, and this is also one of my favorite blocks in the entire plugin. I love this because it provides you with a very beautiful kind of animation. It provides your website with a very beautiful kind of animation while your page is loading. Let me refresh this page so you see what I'm talking about. You can see right now, you see the animation right there telling you that the page is loading. Hold on, and then the page loads, and there you go. This is a great way to prevent users from leaving your site in case your site doesn't load quickly enough. You know, we're very impatient nowadays. So adding a preloader is a great way to keep your users engaged on your site while your content loads. Now we're going to make use of Lottifile animations one more time for the animation. So I'm going to go in here right now to the website. Let's add our block. And the block, as you might imagine, is going to be called the TP Preloader. It's right here, TP Preloader. I'm going to click in there. Now, it doesn't matter where you add the block because it's going to affect your entire page. You could choose to make it the very first block that you add. And in fact, I'm going to do that now by moving the block all the way up right here. So preferably, you can put it as the very first piece of content on your page. You can't add the preloader specifically to a section or a piece of content. The preloader will affect your entire page. So there it is right there. We have the preloader. So on the right now, we can configure, maybe we want to use a static image, all right? Or we could go with like an icon, a text, predefined, or Lottie. So right here, I'm going to choose Lottie. And then for the URL, I like this one in here by A. Bassett. So I'm going to choose this one right now. Okay, I'm going to copy the URL in there. Let's go back right here, and we're simply going to paste that. And that's pretty much it. Of course, you can change the speed, the width, the height, and then under the animated load first. You can come in here right now, and you can choose to exclude maybe the header, or you can choose to exclude a certain class of your content. This is a little bit advanced, so don't worry about this. I'll just recommend that you don't touch anything in here. Just add your Lottie file, or if you're not going with a Lottie, just add your image, your icon, your text, and then you can customize the width, height. You can go to the page transition right now where you'll have the animation of fade, which is the default, or you have slide, triple swoosh. Let's go with slide, okay? And then the direction, you have left, right, top, bottom. I'm going to go with top, all right? And then you have your extra option like the load time. You can set a minimum time for it or a maximum time. And then, of course, under your style, as usual, you can configure the width, the margins, add your box shadows, and so on. Let's go ahead now, update, view the page, and there you go. That's our preloader in action. It's loading, and there you go. And now you can see the animation that we chose, which is the slide from the top. And now we have our content. So this is just a fantastic block. I would highly recommend you use this block because, again, it's a great way to keep users engaged on your site while your content loads. There's no point in them just staring at a blank white screen, right? It doesn't make any sense. So again, it's not just Lottifiles you can work with. You can work with like your text. You can add something like hold on while the page is loading. You can add like a progress bar as an example. Okay, let me show you how this one works. I'm going to change the colors in here, make it a bit more dramatic. All right, and let's go with green. Let's update now, and let me show you how this one works. And as you can imagine, you now have the percentage loading, 100%, and of course the page will now load. So again, you have different styles of displaying your preloaders, and this is a block I would highly recommend that you make use of on your site. The next block is going to be a very interesting one. This is the advanced mouse cursor. And this block basically allows you to change the symbol, the traditional symbol or icon of your mouse. As an example right here, you can see right now that the mouse symbol has changed to this big blue button. You come and hover me, it has changed to a different blue arrow. You come down here, now it's in a circular motion. Basically, that's what the block allows you to do. It allows you to change the traditional icon of your mouse. And this can be useful in so many occasions. Let me show you how it works. Now, I've already created a 2-column layout for the row. We have our text on the left column, and then we have an image on the right column. Now, the actual block itself, I am going to add the block for the mouse cursor directly beneath the first column in here. So just beneath the Learn More button, I'm going to add the block, and it's called, just type in cursor right here, it's called the TP mouse cursor. That is the block. All right, so I'm going to add that. Now, the first option you will see on the right here is the back end design box turned on. Basically, this box you're seeing right here is the design box. This is where you can preview how the cursor would look like on the front end. So as an example, if I was to change the type from crosshair right here, let's go with grab as an example. Now you can see the symbol has changed. Now we have the hand with the grab symbol. So basically this box here is just kind of like the preview box. So I encourage you to keep this turned on. But now this is where things get very interesting. You have the cursor area. Where would you like this effect to take control? Is it going to be the entire body of your page, the row, which in this case would be the entire row holding these 2 columns, or is it going to be just the column holding the text and the button, or is it going to be a specific block? Let's get very, very specific first. I'm going to go with block. Okay. Now notice, and this is very, very, very important, notice that the block holding our cursor is directly beneath the Learn More button, which means right now that whatever we change in here will only affect this button. It's not going to affect the text up here. Let me show you. I'm going to go ahead now, update. Let's view the page. Now, if I was to come down here, notice that nothing has changed with the cursor for the mouse, right? It's still the same. But then once I come down here to Learn More, do you now see that the symbol has now changed to that of the grab hand, right? You can see it, right? So the question you might have here is, okay, what if we wanted to change the symbol just for the text and not the button? What you simply do is you move the block holding the cursor directly beneath the block you want to affect. So in this case right now, I am going to move the block holding the cursor now directly beneath the text column. Do you see that? I'm going to go ahead now, update. Let's view the page. And now if I was to scroll down here, now do you see that we now have the grab symbol on the text? But then if I come down here to the button, it's no longer the case because we've shifted the position of the block holding the icon to be just beneath the one for the text. Now let me go back one more time, and now let me change the area affected by the block, by the cursor area, I'm sorry. So instead of block right now, let's go with column. So basically this is now going to affect the entire first column right there. Update, view the page, come back down here, and now do you see we have the grab symbol right there on the text? It's also right there on the button as well. But if I come down here to the image, we still have the same old traditional cursor icon. Let's go back one more time, okay? One last time. And I'm going to change the effect of the block, of the cursor rather, I'm sorry, to row. Now the entire row. Update, view the page, come back right here. And now do you see we have the grab symbol on the text, on the button, and of course on the image now as well, because we are affecting the entire row. All right, let's go back in here real quick. I want to show you something really cool. I'm going to go back in here and let's change this one back to column. All right. Now, instead of the cursor icon, instead of the icon type, which is predefined, I'm going to go with a custom icon. You can upload your own custom icons. I'm going to custom, and I'm going to insert one that I created, which is this one right here, where you have the big hand with the button. I'm going to select that. Okay, so now I'm using my own icon. However, there's this interesting feature here that says mouse cursor click. One thing you could do is you could also add a second symbol or a second icon that will be applied specifically to any clickable text. In this case right now, the learn more button is clickable. So what I'll do is I'll turn this on and then I'll insert a different icon, which is this one right here with the yellow circle. Select that one and now let's update. And now take a look at this effect. Okay, very, very interesting. I'm gonna come down here. Okay, let's wait for a second. And now, okay, now you can see I have my custom icon taken over right there. But then once I come down here to learn more button, now it has switched to the second icon because the learn more is a clickable piece of text. Let me show you one last feature that's really, really, really cool. Let's come back down here. Okay. I'm going to move the icon, all right, just beneath the image instead. All right, so we're no longer going to affect the first column, we're affecting only the second column. But what I'll do right now is I'll change the type from cursor icon to follow image. Okay, follow the image. And then what I'll do, I'm going to turn off the mouse cursor click. Let's update. And let me show you this very, very interesting effect. So the first column is no longer affected, but now we have the second column right here, which we've applied the follow image. So how this will work right now is this. Okay, now you can see my own mouse icon has taken over. And as I move my actual mouse, you can see it's following. It's following the image wherever I go. And that's basically how that works. So there's a lot of other things you can do with this particular block. There are a lot of other options you can work with, like follow the text, you can follow the circle, you can also change things like the max width, change the offset as well, and so on. There's a lot of really, really awesome things you could do with this particular block. So hopefully you will find this block useful on your website. Let's take a look at the next block, and that's going to be the one-page scroll navigation. And it's a very, very simple block that allows you or your users to be able to navigate their way through a very long page, typically like your home page, smoothly. So as an example, if I was to scroll all the way down here and I wanted to go back to the top, instead of me using my mouse to scroll back up, I can just use the home link right here, click on home, and it goes all the way back up. So if you want to create an effect like this on your site, you want to make use of this particular block. Now, I'm actually going to use a different site from the one I've been using to demonstrate how this block works. This is the site right here. It's an online store built using WooCommerce. By the way, if you're interested in learning how to build this site with WooCommerce, it's the previous video I've uploaded here on YouTube, so be sure to check that out. Okay, I'm going to show you how this works. I'm on the back end right here. The first thing you want to do is you want to give your rows IDs, because when you're clicking, when your users are going to click on the scroll navigation block, the block relies on the ID of a row so that it knows where to go to. Basically, here's what I'm talking about. See, this is the first row in here, right? I use the TP row. Now, if I was to go to advanced and then under extra options, you see this custom ID. I have given it a custom ID of 1. All right. Let me make use of the navigator right here because this is actually very, very useful. Let's go to the second row. Again, if I was to go to advanced, extra options, you can see I've given it a column ID of 2, a custom ID of 2. Let's come down here to the sixth row. I come down here to advanced, go to extra options. You can see it has a custom ID of 6. So this is the first thing you want to do. Give your sections or your rows unique IDs. Okay. Now that I've done that, I'm going to scroll all the way down here and I'm going to add the new block that we're talking about. And that's the scroll navigation, the TP scroll navigation. That's what it's called. I'm going to add that. Now take a look at this. On the right, on the content, you now have the navigation. This is where you're going to add the IDs of the sections or rows on your page. Now we have the very first one in here. Section ID, my very first one here is going to be 1. Okay. And then all I need to do is to come in here, add a second menu, click inside again, add the ID of 2. and so on and so forth. Okay, now while you're busy adding your navigation, you can actually also add like a custom icon that would represent that particular row or section, or you can even go with a tool tip. Right now by default, this is what we have these red buttons. Okay, that's the default, but what I'll do here is this. Okay, I'm going to add a tooltip for row number 1 and call that one home. Okay, and then for number two right here is the models, so let's just call that models. Okay, that'll be the tooltip models. And then let me do one more for you. I'm going to add section ID number 3. Then number 3 is a bit more descriptive. It's the best selling products section. So the tooltip here, I'll just call this one best sellers. I'm going to pause the video right now and add the remaining navigation rows, which are 7 in total, and I'll also add their IDs and tooltip titles as well. All right, welcome back. As you can see right now, I've added the remaining menu items. So number 3, we have our best sellers. Number 4, we have summer sale. Number 5, we have newest arrivals. Number 6, we have privacy. And number 7, we have contact. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and update. And let me show you how this would work. I'm going to refresh the page. And now you can see we have them right here. So if I was to go to, let's say, privacy, it comes all the way down here to privacy. I go to best sellers, it goes all the way up here to best sellers. Let's make a few changes to the display feature. I'm going to go back in here. All right. Now, if for some reason you clicked on like a different row and you're finding it difficult to actually locate the block, the TP Scroll navigation block, please always use the navigator right at the list view. Okay, you will see the block right there. Just click in there and then you'll have access to the features for the block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to layout. We're going to keep it on layout 1, but the direction, I'm actually going to change that to bottom right. I prefer that particular position. There are a few other things you can change, like the tooltip style. Maybe it's going to be on hover or on an active section, and so on. And then, of course, under styling, you can do things like change the icon height, width, add background colors, and so on. I'll just go ahead, update. Okay, and now if I go back in here and refresh, now you're going to see we have it on the bottom right there. In fact, let me bring out a different browser where I am not logged in, because here you can see I'm logged in. So you have the settings bar right there, which kind of affects the performance. So I'm going to show you how this actually looks like on a website where I am not logged in. Okay, so there you go. So right now I can come to newest arrivals. It goes down here to newest arrivals. We come all the way down here to contact. We go back to the models up in here, and then we go all the way back to the home page buttons. Let's go to summer sale. It comes down here to summer sale, and that's basically how the block works. So this is a fantastic block you can make use of, especially on pages that are very, very long, allowing your users to be able to scroll their way smoothly across the page. The next block is going to be the timeline block, and I'm pretty sure you've seen this before on several websites. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. You would have kind of like a diagram demonstrating the timeline of events or services, things like that. So you have one example in here, and then you have another example in here where you have like images, step-by-step instructions, and then you can have like maybe history, you know, back in 1984, you know, this service was launched, and then 10 years later it went public, it made $10 million, blah, 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 stuff like that. So let me show you how you can make use of this particular block. And it's called the timeline, the TP timeline block. Now, when you add that, by default, you will have some text for you to work with. Event 1, event 2. You have 2 major styles. The style 1 here, your content doesn't have any borders, but then style 2, you will notice you now have kind of like this bubble background pattern right there. So it really depends on what you prefer. You have the masonry layout style as well, which honestly, I've never really been a fan of the masonry layout, so I'll just turn that off. If you prefer masonry layout, by all means, you can make use of that. And then it's pretty straightforward. Right here where you have content, you add your content. So you have event 1. You can customize the title, okay? And then this title in here can be maybe the date. It can be country. It could be anything. and then you have your title, and then you have your description. Now for advanced, you can choose the alignment. Maybe you want to go from left to right or center. Let me go back to right, and then you can choose the section alignment as well, either left or right. It all depends on what you prefer. And of course, you can choose the top offset space as well. You can choose your icons in here for your events and so on. So you can just come in here, click on add content, and then you modify the title, the icon, the date, things like that, description. And that's pretty much how you would add events to your timeline. Further down in here, you can customize the start and end pin. Right now, you can see this is the start pin with the two arrows pointing downwards. You could change the icon in here to something else if you prefer. Same goes with the end pin as well. And of course, under style in here, you can, as usual, change the background color, change the color of your icons, your lines, your title. You can change the typography, the content, button options as well. Oh, speaking of buttons, let me quickly show you. If you want to add buttons, right down here, so let's say for example for like event 1, right, you would find the button right down here. It says display button. You turn it on and then you add your text. So let's say something like buy now, and then you'll have the button appear just below the description of that particular event. So that's how you can work with buttons if you wanted to. So that's it for the timeline plus add-ons. A very, very useful block for most websites, in particular business websites, for showcasing their services. Alrighty, the very last Pro block I'm going to walk you through is going to be the Hotspot pinpoint block, and this would be very, very useful if, of course, you're trying to create hotspots in particular kinds of images. Here are a few examples in here. For example, you can click right in here. You have the hotspot for website design. G has a search engine optimization, and then right here you have data analysis, and so on. You have other very, very interesting ways of displaying your hotspots with the use of videos, for example, in here. Very, very, very creative. And let me just show you how this works. All right, so I'm gonna go in here right now and type in hot. So what we're looking for here is the TP hotspot block. I'm gonna add that. So the first thing you need to do is to add your actual image where you'll be applying your hotspot. So right in here, I have already gotten this image of this bicycle. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and select that. And there it is. So we have our bike. Now, by default, you will have the very first hotspot created for you. It is the plus button right here. You can see that's the first one, and you'd find it under pin content. So this is pin 1 already created for you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back to this site right in here and use the example right here as the demonstration. You can see I stole I stole the image from the website. So the first one in here is the speed gear. You can see where it is, right? So how would we do that? Well, I'm going to come in here, click on pin 1. The icon font, I'll just keep all of that the same. I'm not going to change anything with the icon color or anything like that. But down here, for the description, okay, I'm going to type in speed gear. All right. And then check this out. All right. To align this particular spot right down here, you have the options in here. So left, for example, we're going to keep that on 16. Let me say 17, 18, 19. All right. And then top right here, we're going to go all the way down to 60. And there it is. You can see that's it right there. I'm going to go ahead now, update. Let's view the page. I scroll down in here. And now you have the very first hotspot right there. Let's go back. Let me add one more hotspot. Let's add the hotspot for number 5 in here, which is going to be the front suspension. All right, we see where it is. It's right there. Okay, I'm going to go back in here, click on our image, go to pin content, add the second pin, click inside pin 2, and then, what was the name again? Front suspension. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, type in front suspension, and it's right there. So let's go ahead and do this. Left, we're going to move. Okay, and then for the top, we're going to go down just a little bit. Is that accurate? Yep, I think that's accurate enough. And there it is. I'm going to go ahead now, update, view the page, scroll down in here. So that's hotspot number 1, speed gear, and of course hotspot number 2, which is the front suspension. And that's pretty much how you would add the hotspots to your images. And of course, as usual, you're going to have access to a wide variety of other options, like being able to configure your background color, the icon color, and so on. And of course, under style, you can change the size of the icon, maybe make them very big if you prefer. You can make them smaller. You can increase the width, add some pin radius as well to the borders. You can add the pin image size in here, increase that if you want to. That's if you're using a custom image for your pins, and so on and so forth. And of course, under advanced, you can add the usual spacing, background, border, and so on. So that's how to make use of the hotspot pinpoint block. Before I round up the video, I wanted to encourage you to check out the remaining blocks, which I wasn't able to cover. There's over 80 of them, and I'm pretty sure there are still some out there that you'd be interested in working with. So all you need to do is to go to their site, you come up here to blocks, and then just look for the block you're interested in, and then you simply click inside, and then you will see the documentation on how to use that particular block. I also want to talk to you about the live copy and paste function. You may have noticed that on certain blocks, like say for example the animated services block, you have these options right here where you have the examples, but then on the right you would still like copy, right? So the way this works is that if there's a particular example you like, you want to copy the style, the content, just click on copy, okay, and then go to your site. So let me go to my site right here and show you. I'm going to come all the way down here. So say for example, I wanted to paste what I've just copied, this particular example, I want to paste it down here. I'm going to click on the block, and then right here, you'll see the plus paste button. I'll click in there, and now I'll have the content and the design. It might take a few seconds for it to upload, but there it is right there. You can see I now have the example right here on my site. Obviously, make sure that the particular example of the block you're trying to copy, make sure you have that block active in the back end. Also, they do have a blog builder. They have different kinds of blocks for building out your blog posts, your pages, like the post author, post comment, post navigation, and so on. So if you're building out templates for your single posts or your blog page, you have these blocks that are going to be very useful for you. And finally, I covered this in the free section, the display rules. With the paid version of this plugin, you have access to a lot more rules. You can decide to show content or hide content based on the open system the user is using, the day of the week, and other kinds of different conditions. So I'm pretty sure you would find some of these very useful as well. But one more time, please do go through the remaining blocks that they have. I'm pretty sure there are still many out there that you'd be interested in working with. Alrighty, we've come to the end of the video, and hopefully you've enjoyed today's video where I covered how to make use of 14 blocks provided by the Plus Addons plugin. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share the video with anyone who may feel might benefit from it. If you have any questions, comments, put them down in the comment section below. And if there's any particular block you want me to cover specifically, do let me know. If there are enough requests, I'll definitely cover that block extensively. Just a gentle reminder, if you decide to buy the paid version of the plugin, please do use my affiliate link down in the box below. Thank you so much. My name is Alex. It's been a pleasure. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.